Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Welcome to my review for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover 2, Issue 2. And it took a turn for the worse. This is the worst issue I've ever experienced, worse than every series I've ever... No, I'm just kidding. It was awesome. It was just as good as the first issue in my opinion, continuing almost everything I liked about the first issue and the first story. It's just really been good so far. You know, we pick up where we have Rita now uniting all the villains from mmpr and TMNT, uniting them in Dimension X and whatnot, and she's got a cool new look. Rita gets so much attention. I've talked about this in several other comic-related and other videos, but she's gotten so much more attention, and it's weird because I have like a push-pull with that, where on the one hand, I never liked Rita that much in the show, but I love almost every version of her in the comics. She has cooler designs, cooler character, but at the same time, it's like, damn, give someone else a spotlight. I hope if they do a third one, they would give Zed a chance to shine. Some sort of Zed, like Dimension X mutation or Ranger form or both would be honestly pretty sick. So she's uniting all of them, and then she's obviously recruited Casey as Ranger X, bringing about Green Ranger parallels. You have some stuff in the base with kind of like the mistrust and bickering between Ranger X and the other villains, some classic stuff. Him talking to Krang. I'm calling it Krang, because this was Krang for me. They're named like the Oolongs or something. I know that's the pig from Dragon Ball. I can't remember. I know that they had like a different race name in the original series. Again, I'm a casual TMNT fan. The only series I've watched to completion is the 2012 one, where the Krang were the little brain bots, unless I'm messing up the name now. But I'm going to call it Krang for the sake of this video, and I'll change it if I got it wrong. But he's talking to him about pledging his allegiance to him before the flag, and it's kind of bringing about some parallels to Zordon's too, at least I think that's what they're going for. And one of the most important things that this reveals is that his powers come from Dimension X, that there were once Rangers in Dimension X that rebelled against the villains, and they have Morphers. And they show them obvious foreshadowing to Turtles getting new powers because the Morphers are the colors of the Turtles. They're kind of like square Dimension X-y versions of the Power Morphers. It's really cool, like it's very obvious here. One thing that bothers me, though, is like the same time this came out, we got the cover for issue 5, which shows what they look like. Again, I have a very mixed relationship about this. I don't understand why comics always have to spoil their biggest surprises. Like, obviously, the fact that this is being revealed now isn't a surprise, but it would have been nice to be surprised by what the suits look like. And I'm weird about spoilers, because I only consider something to be a spoiler when you're not supposed to know about it, like if it's leaked or something. But as soon as it's officially revealed, as far as I'm concerned, if something's officially revealed, something's officially released, you can talk about it anywhere, no holds bar. But I just think that it would be so much more beneficial to have some surprises. Like, I know that it generates word of mouth to be like, hey, this is an exciting thing to check out. But at the same time, it would be cool to generate word of mouth by a surprise and have a situation where you're experiencing something for the first time. But anyway, I'm not reviewing the comic practice. The bottom line is, we know what they look like. We got the preview. They look awesome. Honestly, the Dimension X Rangers, both the Turtles and Casey, are some of my favorite designs in the comics. They just work so well for me. They're so slick. The colors work together well for me. I do wish the Turtles ones looked a little bit different from each other than the colors, and they do have some unique weapons, but I do wish they looked a little bit different from each other, like maybe in the helmet and stuff. There are some Ranger powers that look more similar to each other, but that's my only nitpick. Otherwise, they look great. I think this is really exciting. I love that Mythology edition. Meanwhile, the Rangers are discussing the whole situation, obviously bringing up the parallels to Tommy. Tommy discusses how he was freed from the control by destroying something, which was the Sword of Darkness. They assume it's something close to him, which would be his hockey stick, setting the stage for that. We get some overall nice interactions between the characters as usual, with the most standout for me being this conversation between Splinter and Zordon. I believe they had a nice moment in the original comic, if I recall, but this was just a nice moment talking about, like, do you ever feel guilt for putting the Rangers in danger, or the Turtles in danger, and the Rangers, and they kind of reminisce over that of like, yes, but at the end it's their decision, you know, you should be proud of your sons for fighting for people that will ostracize them and so forth. And it's one of the things I like most about this. Like, as much as I love seeing the mythologies tie together and all the cool action and cool crossover designs, it's also really nice that they don't just rely on that, and they actually have some legitimately good interactions that take advantage of the similarities and the differences between the characters. And it's those little moments that are almost my favorite thing, and I do appreciate that. But when they head out into battle against Rita's forces, and she's got everybody, and we got even more Rogues Gallery people from Turtles primarily. I think Leatherface, Leatherhead. I think it's Leatherhead. Leatherface, I believe, is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is really cool. He was one of my favorite characters in the 2012 series. Also, again, I brought this up in last time's review, but it is funny to me how, you know, TMNT is a different franchise because it's kind of the same thing that just keeps getting reiterated on, but obviously they added mythology every time. But it's interesting seeing these two cross over when you're just pigeonholing it to mmpr and just season 1 specifically, how much more of a robust rogues gallery of villains Turtles has to pull from, and just a much more robust mythology to pull from in general compared to season 1. I know we have to do mmpr, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm hoping that, like, we can expand a little bit in future ones, even just to season 2 and 3 stuff if we do a third one. Like, honestly, if we do a trilogy, we gotta do the ninja suits. I think there's some really cool stuff to be mined there. Point is, Rita's got even more forces this time, and because they're up against all these threats, they do this shadow morph thing where they can both use the coin at the same time. So we have the mmpr team morphing alongside the Turtles team. Ta-ta, Turtle Man! And obviously it kind of highlights how Pink looks the same outside of the skirt, you know, not having a skirt on April's, and they even make a joke about that. But this was cool to see. I really like the turtle suits. I've liked them from the beginning, but they've grown on me more and more since we've seen them and after getting the figures. But for me, what was cool about this is I like how it allows us to have some different dynamics out in the field. Like when they're not in the field, you get to have those interesting conversations between leader characters like Leo and Jason and the smart characters like Donnie and Billy. But then out in the field, you get different combos. Like you get Donnie and Zach, and you get Leo and Billy because they're wearing the same color, and, you know, team-up rules, you got to team up with the same color. It's kind of like you got to start wearing the same color that you're the Ranger of. Am I the Blue Ranger? I just really like that. I think that adds kind of a cool mix and match dynamic, and it was cool to see them fight alongside each other. But then big surprise at the end of the issue is that Shredder shows back up, and it seems like he might be against the villains this time too, so we might be in for an enemy of is my friend type of storyline, which I think would be really cool. Obviously, I don't think it's going to end with Shredder being Kumbaya, but I think it would be kind of cool in a shallow, you know, way to see the Green Shredder Ranger fight alongside the Turtles and mmpr team before we get their new Dimension X powers. Also, they find out Casey is not under a spell and he's of his own free will, and, you know, he says like, oh, you don't need me, you got your new friends, blah, blah, blah. But you know what's gonna happen. He's working with them undercover for whatever blank reason. It's generic, but, you know, it's fine. That's my thing about this, is like the storyline itself, if you strip everything away, isn't that revolutionary, interesting, or different, but the filling is all really good. Like, the way they weave together the mythologies is really cool. I honestly just really love the hybrid designs on a shallow level, but I think they all make sense story-wise. Like, you know they're doing it for fan service, but it doesn't feel like it's just there, and it's like, hey, this is just fan service, doesn't matter. It feels like they try to actually integrate it into the plot. And I mentioned this last time too, but I really like how the worlds intertwine in a way where it honestly feels like they're part of the same shared world. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like it's two properties crossing over, but rather two superhero teams that inhabit the same universe crossing over. And I really love the way the mythologies blend together, especially with Dimension X. And I also love the character interactions. Again, it's not that revolutionary if you boil it down, but the way they interweave the mythologies and the character interactions and the way the mythologies interact, it makes it really enjoyable. And one of the most enjoyable comics that was a huge surprise to me as someone who's sick of crossovers. This has been so enjoyable, and I legitimately look forward to every issue. So I'm going to give this one another 4. It was another good issue. I wish they would save some of the surprises. Like, we know we got the Dimension X Rangers coming as well as the Mutant Rangers. Like, I wish they would have saved one of those to be a surprise. There's sort of, I could infer probably that the Mutant Rangers would happen because, yeah, but I didn't necessarily expect the Dimension X Turtles, honestly. I thought like, okay, they're going to give Casey a Ranger form, they might upgrade the mmpr Turtles Rangers, but I didn't see full-on new Rangers coming. So I hope there's some surprises still. We did do like the Metalhead Megazord and stuff last time, so I still hope there's something that doesn't get shown in a cover. But what do you guys think of the continuation of this crossover? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.